Hello everyone. Today we're looking at our third leisure lesson, which is all about hunting as a sport. So we're going to start off by putting down our title, our learning objective, how has the need to hunt changed over time, and our starter is to write down numbers 1 to 6 for our quick fire questions. So if you'd like to pause the video now, please do your title, your learning objective, and write down number 1 to 6 for your quick fire. When you're ready, you can go ahead and hit play, and we'll be doing those quick fire questions momentarily. You've had a chance to look at your quick fires. Let's go through them together. So question number 1, what is it called when a knight would take on all challengers? And we've learned this in our previous lessons. The term is a pas d'armes. Question number 2, going back to Elizabeth, who is this man? Well, of course, it's Sir Francis Walsingham, the spy master for Elizabeth. How many points were earned for an unhorsing? And that is in a jousting match when you knock the opposing jouster off of their horse, you would receive 10 points. Men between the ages of 15 and 60 had to practice which skill? In the Elizabethan era, every Sunday, you had to practice your archery after church. Number 5, this is when a team of knights would fight, most often in a field, and it's called the melee. And number 6, favors land or money in exchange for loyalty. This is an Elizabethan term, and this is patronage. In your note, can you make a table? it will say hunting for survival and hunting for fun. The table doesn't need to be very large. We're just going to put some letters down. And you can see at the bottom of our screen, we have A, B, C, D, and E. Now you'll need to decide where the letter will go into which column. So for example, A, let's look at. Is this someone hunting for survival or hunting for fun? So they're dressed, they've got a rifle we can see across their lap. They have an orange hat on to be easily identified by their hunters. They've caught what looks like a pheasant using a dog as well. So this will be up to you to determine whether this is survival hunting or hunting for fun and leisure. Likewise, look at B. We have a cheetah chasing an antelope. Is it hunting for fun or for survival? So please pause the video now, have a look at putting those into the corresponding columns, and when you're finished, you can go ahead and click play and we'll take it up together. So let's have a look at A. So we have an individual who looks like they are pheasant hunting using a dog and a rifle. Chances are this individual is hunting as a pastime or a hobby. So it's probably not for survival. They'd probably be able to go and get some food from Asda or Tesco if they really needed it, but this is more of a leisure activity. Quite oppositely, our cheetah chasing down an antelope is hunting for survival. It needs that food to eat. Now, the cheetah might have some fun in chasing the antelope, but it's certainly for survival. Next, we have a medieval image. So we have two men and they're hunting with dogs. Again, we could say that this is hunting for fun. We have a man from a tribe in Central Africa. He appears to be hunting for survival. And then we have E, which is a man hunting a moose and then someone buying that meat from a supermarket. Modern times hunting can fit into both categories. You could hunt for survival if you're going to be eating the meat that you are hunting, or it could be for fun if it's more of a hobby and a pastime.
In medieval times, hunting by common folk was largely in the pursuit of food. Whereas for the upper classes, hunting on horseback became an exclusive sport. An Act of Parliament of 1485 made unauthorized hunting in private forests a crime, punishable by death if committed at night or in disguise. By the 16th century, hunting using specially bred and trained dogs became hugely popular. Hunting the stag or boar became not only a symbol of knighthood but an activity that marked out a gentleman. Noble women were especially fond of hunting, and Elizabeth I loved to hunt. James I much preferred hunting to royal duties and enjoyed greyhound coursing.
So now that we know a little bit about hunting in the medieval era, we're going to look at a poem called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I'll actually have an individual from the Victoria Albert Museum in London read it for you. And what we'll be doing is focusing on the bottom paragraph here. So you'll be able to follow along a little bit. He's going to start reading and you'll hear things like the boar burst forward, bursting the hog's heart. You'll hear words like this to be able to follow along with what the poem is discussing. But pay attention particularly to the language that's used and the very cruel nature in which the boar's life is ended. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and we'll listen to our museum curator.
In the literature of the 12th to 14th centuries, the hunt was a common theme. In fact, the hunter's pursuit of his quarry was often used as a metaphor for the pursuit of love. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight is one of the finest English poems of the late 14th century. Its vivid description of a lord's boar hunt is both a realistic depiction conveying the thrill of the chase and an ironic counterpoint to attempts by the lord's wife to seduce their guest, Sir Gawain. Poet Simon Armitage tells us more and reads from his translation of the poem.
We have these exquisite and sometimes excruciating courtship scenes in Gawain's bedchamber, where the lady of the house is trying everything within her powers and everything within human decency to tempt him out of the bedsheets or to make her own way into the bedsheets. And Gawain, skillfully and with great diplomacy, manages to defend his honour and perhaps hers as well. But those scenes are intercut and interwoven, and sometimes quite abruptly, with visceral and graphic hunting scenes in which the animals in question aren't only caught, they are grollocked on the ground, by which I mean they are butchered, taken apart, and no detail is spared. We see the flesh, we see the blood, we see the guts and the gory details, and I think these are often in lieu of what our imagination might be telling us could have happened in the bedroom. Roused and risen, he was ready for mass. The meal of the morning was made and served. Then he loitered with the ladies the length of the day, while the lord of the land ranged left and right in pursuit of that pig which stampeded through the uplands, breaking his best hounds with its back-snapping bite when it stood embattled. Then bowmen would strike, goading it to gallop into open ground where the air was alive with the huntsman's arrows. That boar made the best men flinch and bolt, till at last his legs were like lead beneath him, and he hobbled away to hunker in a hole by a stony rise at the side of a stream. With the bank at his back, he scrapes and burrows, frothing and foaming foully at the mouth, wetting his white tusks. The hunters waited, irked by the effort of aiming from afar, but daunted by the danger of daring to venture too near. So many men before had fallen prey, they feared that fierce and frenzied boar whose tusks could slash and tear. Till his lordship hacks up, urging on his horse, spots the swine at standstill encircled by men, then handsomely dismounts and unhands his horse, brandishes a bright sword and goes bounding onwards, wades through the water to where the beast waits. Aware that the man was wafting a weapon, the hog's hair stood on end, and its howling grunt made the fellows their fear for their master's fate. Then the boar burst forward, bounded at the lord, so that beast and hunter both went bundling into white water, and the swine came off worst, because the moment they had clashed, the man found his mark, knifing the boar's neck, nailing his prey, hammering it to the hilt, bursting the hog's heart. Screaming, it was swept downstream, almost slipping beneath. At least 100 hounds latch on with tearing teeth. Then, dragged to drier ground, the dogs complete its death.
So continuing on with hunting in the medieval era, it was commonly depicted in art, in poems, and a particular type of poem or a song is known as a caccia. This is an Italian word that means hunt or to chase. In these examples, you can hear the voices of two singers. They seem to kind of chase one another throughout the song as it's played with a lute. That's kind of like a medieval version of a guitar. Now, these types of songs that were written from a man's point of view and were often sung by men. This catch that we're going to listen to is called Hounds at the Court and Dogs in the Forest. It's in Italian, so it's not something that we'll be able to really understand, but on the left-hand side of the screen, I'll put up the English translation, and we'll listen to about the first 20 seconds of the catch, just so you can get an idea of what medieval music really sounded like.
Segutar, porta e canter la foresta. Segutar, in sorta e canter la foresta. Auf, in auf, in la paia, cacciatori, chiamare confortar.
So having heard a caccia all about a medieval hunt and having looked at the poem of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, we're going to use our existing knowledge of the Elizabethan era as well to write down what we already know about hunting. And that is our first summary question. So go ahead and pause the screen. You can write down these 4 questions onto your sheet of lined paper and answer them in full sentences as best you can. We'll take these up together in just a few moments. Okay, so you've had a chance to look at these 4 questions. So what do we already know about hunting? And you were prompted to think about what you know from our Elizabethan unit. We should know that hunting was a way for rich people to socialize and a way to show off their money through the weapons that they would need, but also through private land. We know that it was illegal for poor people to hunt on private land. So to hunt, you had to be wealthy. We also know that Elizabeth liked to hunt, but it was always a man who would do the final kill of the animal. Women were allowed to observe the hunt, but they were not allowed to kill the animals themselves. Question 2. How has the purpose of hunting changed throughout history? Well, hunting initially began as a means of simply getting food. But in the medieval era, things started to change. It became a way to show off how wealthy and powerful you were. Medieval men would use hunting to show off their strength over nature. And even though in modern times we have access to food and supermarkets, we no longer have the need to go and specifically hunt for our food. Some people choose to do so, but it's not a necessity anymore. And it's much easier simply to go to Tesco and buy some meat that's already been produced for us, as opposed to going to the forest and trying to find it for ourselves. Question number 3, what was it like to go hunting in the medieval era? Think about the Catcha that we read. It was really cruel. The Catcha described the boar being hunted. Same with the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The boar was stabbed with a knife. It was ripped apart by dogs. It was a very, very violent experience. And number 4, explain 3 ways that hunting has changed since the year 500. Describe this using the medieval, early modern, and modern eras. So in the medieval era, we know it was a way to show off wealth. In the early modern era, it was still a symbol of wealth by hunting specifically on private land. But the big change is going to come in the modern era. And this is when hunting is no longer necessary to get food. We can simply buy it in supermarkets. In addition to this, animal welfare groups, they look out for the fair treatment of animals as well, and they advocate for more humane hunting practices. So if you're going to go hunting, you should do so in a way that ends the animal's life very quickly and painlessly, as opposed to a more traumatic experience. So on the note of quick and painless versus traumatic hunting experiences, one of the main issues is around fox hunting. Now we can see a man on the left-hand side. He's protesting the fox hunt outside Westminster, outside the Houses of Parliament in 2006. And here we have an image from 2005 of some gentlemen who are out fox hunting. Now, fox hunting is a very traditional sport in England. It consists of people on horseback wearing these red coats. Now, the red coats aren't called red coats, they're called pinks. Don't ask me why, but they're called pinks. And you need horses to be able to move quickly. And then you need these dogs that are specially trained to chase down foxes. And a fox hunt mainly involves the dogs sniffing out the scent of a fox, chasing it until the fox is absolutely exhausted, and then the men can complete the hunt themselves. What we're going to do is look at a newspaper article. It will be read for you out loud, and this is all about the issue of fox hunting in the modern era. And Theresa May, specifically, her challenge with either banning or allowing people to fox hunt. So let's go ahead and take a look at that together.
Some hunters have been caught kidnapping fox cubs and intentionally breeding them, in addition to feeding wild foxes, apparently to encourage population growth in order to later kill them. Theresa May has come under fire for suggesting there may be a vote on repealing the Hunting Act (TPA). If Theresa May was looking for a way to alienate a large majority of the British public, she's found it. Her pledge to give MPs a free vote on whether or not to repeal the Hunting Act, thereby making it legal for foxes to be torn to shreds by packs of dogs led by hunters, doesn't just offend any person with an ounce of common decency, it also flies in the face of all the evidence on effective wildlife management. Britain has a proud legacy of protecting animals, including by introducing the first animal welfare legislation in the world, and so the mind boggles that any politician would suggest overturning a highly successful law that has been proved to safeguard animals. Government records show that from February 2005 to 2013 alone, More than 500 individuals have been charged and 341 convicted under the Hunting Act. The ban is effective, and it stands as a firm warning that terrorizing and killing foxes won't be tolerated in this country. Just this week, a new poll found that 67% of voters think the ban on fox hunting should remain, and other recent polls have put the figure as high as 84%. This isn't the first time the ban has come under threat. 2 years ago, hundreds of compassionate people gathered outside Parliament in protest against the government's attempt to reinstate fox hunting, and tens of thousands, from every constituency in the country, wrote to their MPs urging them to vote against plans to weaken the ban. After this action, the government quickly backpedaled and cancelled the planned vote. She might support this blood sport, but it doesn't get much crueler than setting a pack of hounds loose on a terrified fox. Hunts intentionally block foxes' underground escape routes, so the frantic chases often last for hours, during which foxes sometimes rupture their internal organs in their desperate attempts to evade the dogs. When the foxes become exhausted or are cornered and unable to escape, the dogs often rip them apart, an excruciating and slow way to die if ever there was one. A study of foxes killed by hounds showed that the animals died of profound trauma inflicted by multiple bites and, in many cases, were disemboweled while still alive. As for the stale excuse about population control that's so often batted around, there's no need to kill foxes at all. In fact, lethal population control methods have been shown to backfire. In areas where many foxes are killed, the number of fertile vixens increases, as do litter sizes. Many species exhibit this common biological response, which restores populations to their natural levels. For hunters, this ensures a steady stream of victims, and a convenient cover for their bloodlust.
So having looked at the article about fox hunting, your job is to do a little bit more research, and you can do so on the internet or by using your leisure textbooks. You can use Control and F at the same time. It'll bring up the search function. You can actually search for the key term of fox hunting in your book to make it easier. The following 4 questions need to be written down and answered. So go ahead and write down what happened in 2005, 2006, 2009, and 2016 to do with the fox hunt. Question 2, why was the fox hunt causing so much debate? Number 3, why is fox hunting a good thing? Provide 3 reasons. There are positives to fox hunting. It does good things for the environment. But as question 4 says, there are also some negatives. And why is it considered to be cruel? Again, provide 3 reasons. So pause the screen now, write down these 4 questions on your sheet of paper, and you can use the leisure textbook and the internet to be able to complete these.